The Warlock. Not only can you smite the battlefield like a god with fire raining from the sky, no, you could summon one elemental, one mummy, and a zombie that actually stays until the next long rest to aid you. Plus, you probably have the best spell in the game to just yeet Jimmy, Timmy, Dave, and Francis off every single corner left and right while dealing copious amounts of damage. And the best part is you're strong early, mid-game, and very powerful in the end game. Let me tell you how to do this. There's also 2-3 items I'll mention and how to get them, but I'll add there's a spoiler coming before, and you can just skip if you're not interested. What race are we choosing for a Warlock? Tiefling. There's no questions asked here. Obviously, if you want to choose one other for roleplay reasons, that's fine. Let me iterate. First, we get dark vision. That's always nice. You can see in the dark up to 12 meters. And hellish resistance. You have resistance to fire damage, taking only half damage from it. And later, with your Warlock class specific resistances, you're almost immune to fire. So if you have to fireball yourself, and it has happened, okay, there's reasons why you might fireball yourself during the playthrough to wipe out everyone around you. Fantastic. Do that. That's not it though. There's the Asmodeus Tiefling, Mephistopheles Tiefling, and the Zerial Tiefling, and you do get a bonus skill like this very easy. And the best one to get is Mage Hand. You encounter many situations throughout the game where Mage Hand is extremely useful. Just put it out, push some people off ledges, pull some levers. My English is leaving me here. Class, obviously the Warlock, and cantrips, you want the best spell in the game, Eldritch Blast. Starts with 1 beam, goes up to 3 beams in the end, and it gets so much better throughout the levels. As a second one, I choose between Minor Illusion. You can put up illusion that helps to pull enemies together in certain situations. Just put it out there, they walk, you blast them. Or you'll take Friends, which works in certain situations as you're going for rolls, and it just gives you a way easier chance to win those rolls. Might help you with your role-playing journey. Illusion is definitely better if you just care for the fighting aspect. And now the most important thing to choose, Fiend, Old One, or Archfey. And here the Fiend is unquestionable what you want to have. Each of these has a subclass feature. The Old One, for example, when you land a critical hit against a creature, that creature and any nearby enemies must succeed a wisdom saving throw or become frightened. That seems good, but realistically, the Fiend, when you reduce a hostile's creature hit points to 0, this gift from your patron grants you 4 temporary hit points. And that goes up to 16. And here comes the interesting part. These hit points stay until a long rest. So you can do a short rest and still have plus 16 hit points. That's double your HP. If you kill some minions in the beginning, if you have some longer fights, you keep these hit points, you heal up, and you have them as a buffer if you get into a tough situation. It has helped me numerous times to just not get blasted out of existence. Yes, you're the Warlock. Yes, you're holding back, but hell, enemies like to kind of rush you, and sometimes you're not always in the position to get away easy. As the beginning spells, there's 2 perfect ones. One is Hellish Rebuke. When you get attacked, that is a reaction, and you can do 2 to 20 fire damage to the person attacking you, taking them completely out or over half of their HP away. And then you also have Burning Hands. Use your Minor Illusion to gather people together, and then use your Burning Hands, which hits a lot of people in front of you and completely eradicate them. This together with Gale in the beginning, who casts Grease, and you get an absolute killing field of fire. Now for the background, it's between Charlatan and Criminal. They get Deception, which is a Charisma roll, and Sleight of Hand, which is Dexterity, and these are the 2 you're going for. Same goes for Criminal, and you would have Stealth in case you do actually want to hide away as you Misty stepped somewhere and just don't want to be seen. For the ability points, I yoink everything out of Int and everything out of Wisdom. These are the 2 you do not need at all. We're going to go for the plus 2 points here in Charisma and leave it at 17, and the Dexterity can be pushed all the way up to 16. Our goal is end of the day to get the Charisma up to 20 throughout our journey. For the last 2 points, might as well put up Constitution to bring that up to 16 in the long run as well. Level 2 already gives us another spell slot, which is good because the Warlocks have a very limited amount of spell slots, but we can fix that with some items. And we also get an interesting spell with Hex, which makes our attacks deal an additional 1 to 6 necrotic damage bonus, plus they get a disadvantage on an ability of your choosing, and you can go strength, charisma, wisdom, whatsoever. Most important though, the Eldritch Invocation, and here we have the Agonizing Blast, which adds your charisma modifier on the Eldritch Blast. We're currently +3, but we'll not stop until this is +5. And most important, the Repelling Blast, because when you hit a creature with Eldritch Blast, you can push them back for 4.5 meters. And as Eldritch Blast is able to go 3 times into a target, that's push back, push back, push back, push back. I've joined people off a 12-meter walkway down a chasm with the Repelling Blast. It's so useful, especially with positioning your Warlock later with the other spells you're getting. Level 3 gets you one of my favorite spells, Scorching Ray. Yes, I would go for Scorching Ray straight away. There's Hold Person, which we'll take in the long run, but Scorching Ray allows us to hold 3 rays of fire, each ray dealing 2 to 12 damage. And in the long run, this goes up to 6 rays of fire. Yes, you're right, 6 rays of fire, which is ultimately going to be such a nice damage boost. As your pact boon, you could choose between Chain Blade or Tome. And we're going for Tome because we want to play a Summoner Warlock to have 3 summons in the long run. Especially the Tome also gives you Guidance, which gives you a +1 d4 on ability checks. That can be any conversation shenanigans, trying to lockpick, and wherever you need an ability check, getting boosted by a random d4 can bring you so many new options throughout your playthrough. As our race, we're getting a second Burning Hand, which is super cool. So we have our actual Burning Hands plus another Burning Hands. The level 4 cantrip finally allows us to take Friends or Minor Illusion if you have taken Friends beforehand. And as a spell, we're finally taking Hold Person, which holds a humanoid still for 10 turns. And attacks from within 3 meters are always critical. Yes, have Lvl walk up with Action Surge, do 4 attacks. Each single attack is critical. She completely obliterates anyone. A boss, someone with 200 HP, it doesn't matter. Gets clobbered to death. With your feat, you have to make 2 choices now. Your first feat should focus on your charisma, and here we're boosting it up to 19. Yes, we could go for 1 constitution, but that is a wasted point because we'll cover that different. And since our charisma rolls go on our Eldritch Blast, that 19 comes in handy, especially as we bring it up to 20 later. With level 5, our pact gets deepened, and that's why we also took the Pact of the Tome, because now we get Animate Dead. And again, Animate Dead allows us to make a skeleton or a zombie, but it doesn't cost us a spell slot because it's from our pact. And that zombie stays until long rest. So throughout the 2 short rests, you have that zombie being another meat bag, meat shield, running away, running around. You can put him in first in every fight so he takes the aggro, and then just throw fireballs on him because who cares about your zombie? Talking about fireballs, that's your tier 3 spell, has an insane radius and can do so much damage. Followed up with the Eldritch Invocation of Mire the Mind, that is a slow, which allows you with the whole person to completely control your enemies. Slow is also 10 turns and would hold the enemy and allows you to essentially kite everyone. While they can only walk, you can run, and they can only do a minimal amount of attacks as well. As a raise, we get a Burning Sword. I haven't used that a single time. It's still cool to have. Level 6 slowly makes things spicy. First, we get the Dark One's Own Luck. That's a 1d10 that we can add to any ability check if we really want to win that one Deception, Persuasion, crack that D30 lock or whatsoever. A bonus 1d10 plus Guidance that we took earlier. Yes, a 1d4 and a 1d10 on any ability check. Spells, we're still stuck with tier 3s, and we're not going to take a counter spell because we can't expand our spell slots for this. We have to have Gale essentially do the counter spell for us. But what we're going to take is Misty Step. Now, you could have taken Misty Step earlier already. I choose it a little bit later here. Misty Step is, for me personally, the #1 insane spell to have because it allows you to position your character on the battlefield wherever you wanted to. And especially for the pushing blast, you can teleport exactly where you need to be to just throw someone off in the chasm. Archers never have a chance again. You're surrounded by enemies and you just want to get away. The boss pushed you or jumped on you. Misty Step is truly that amazing. And well, there might be an item that gives you even more Misty Step. Level 7 with the tier 4 spells. One is Banishment to get rid of someone completely for 2 turns. But there's a better one with just Blight, and that is a Hardcore Nuke. 8 to 64 damage necrotic, just completely obliterating someone. Considering also that as the Eldritch Invocation, we get the Sculptor of Flesh, which gives us a polymorph to transform a creature into a harmless sheep for 5 turns. would rather sheep someone than banish someone, even though banishment is still quite cool. We finally get our second feed, and that one is so important. Pair this together with spells. First, we can take another spell, and here we might as well have banishment on top, because sometimes it's better to completely banish something away than sheep it. You could alternatively take invisibility, which has proven to be quite useful throughout the story to go into certain areas, to start certain fights, and have your warlock just be invisible and walk a little bit around and then cast their spell. Do not underestimate the power of invisibility. As the feat we're taking here, moderately armored. Moderately armored allows us to wake medium armor without any disadvantages, and also give us a shield. And the shield is super interesting. More to that in the itemization part, if you don't mind the spoilers. I'll keep the story out of it though, just where it is. And here we can take another point to Dex. Reaching level 9 with the Fire of the Gods. Flame strike from above, 10 to 60 damage. Make a pillar of divine fire, roar down and obliterate everyone. Does not have the diameter of fireball, but hits so much harder, especially as the opponents are standing close together. It is beautiful. That will also get followed up with Hold Monster, which is like Hold Person, but it's a monster this time with the next level. As our Eldritch Invocation, there's my favorite one finally, and that is the Minions of Chaos. Because now we can actually conjure an elemental, which will take away a spell. Yes, that's okay, but it stays until long rest. So you start fire, air, water, earth, put that out, have 2 spells left in the long run, and it stays until you really go back to the camp. And that elemental is insane, especially if you summon a fire elemental, send it in first and then have it take the aggro. Plus you can fireball the fire elemental and, well, it's fire, it's immune to fire damage. 10 also brings you the Fiendish Resilience. Choose a damage type and become resistant to it. That resets on every short rest, or you can pick a new one if you want to, but you can literally become immune to fire, immune to lightning, necrotic, force damage, whatever. The resistance is crazy how much it helps you to not get sniped down by any boss anymore. I was fighting against a lightning creature which has a whole area wipe. Everyone died but me with lightning resistance. Cantrips don't really matter at this point anymore. Take Blade Ward if you really want to. You're most likely not going to use it. And as a spell, we're taking the Hold Monster for sure. Just like Hold Person, you can hold any kind of creature now. And again, 10 turns, every attack is critical. Lvl having 3 attacks at this point, or 6 attacks in total. Oh boy, oh boy. This can get insane, especially 300 HP enemies just melt away. Level 11 finally gets us that 3rd spell slot, which is so desperately needed. Thank you very much. And also we can take a tier 6 spell, which is not expending a spell slot, and we take Create Undead. There's an opportunity to go for Circle of Death, which is not bad, don't get me wrong. But Create Undead gives you the opportunity to create a mummy, which does good damage, has over 100 HP. You can send that in first again, and it stays until a long rest again. Now Animate Den, Elemental, and Create Undead. 3 bonus busybodies to send in as your triple stack of tanks in front of every single fight, evening the odds and giving you so much more survivability. As a spell, I choose Cone of Cold. Slowing enemies and just blasting it out in a cone can be helpful as people are close to you. And the final level gives us another feed and another spell and another invocation. Here, last but not least, I will take Banishment because there are some quests where Banishment can be helpful. Instead of polymorphing something or whatsoever, just banish it and walk past the situation. Then with the Eldritch Invocation, there is Life Drinker, which is completely useless for us, but it's generally interesting that you actually have it. Your melee attacks deal additional necrotic damage equal to your charisma modifier. What? Yeah, that's really cool if you actually choose a Pact Blade. Why I went here for last but not least is just Dreadful Word Confusion. You can, for 3 turns, confuse people, let them attack each other. It can lead to quite some funny situations, and you just have it bonus. As the final feed, I was just a simple ability improvement to go for 20 charisma and 18 dex. If you manage to pick up the charisma point through quests, you can also choose here the constitution to just get your checks up to 3 and 4. And also the final 5 on charisma if you haven't had it to 20 yet. Now we're coming to the itemization part, and I'll keep it spoiler free in terms of story, but I'll tell you where these items actually are. First item is the Spellcrux Amulet. It has spell slot restoration. Yes, So in the middle of the fight, replenish an expended spell slot of any level. Yeah, you can just get your tier 5 spell slot back once per long rest. That one, you get an Act 2 Moonrise Tower in the prison below. In the middle area of that prison, there's a tower with a warden in it, and killing the warden grants you Scent Amulet. You will have to clear out the whole prison because everyone is mad at you for attacking the warden, but afterwards when you go up, no one cares about what you did. Very early in Act 2, in the last light in, you can get the Incandescent Staff from Quartermaster Tally. And this makes your Warlock so much more variable because it allows you to cast Fireball per long rest. Plus, it grants resistance to fire damage even more, which you're already heavily resistant to. There's also the counterpiece to the shield I have right now. This is the Shield of Undevout, but she sells the Shield of the Devout, which gives you a bonus level 1 spell slot. So with actually having the medium armor proficiency, you can wear the Incandescent Staff and the Shield of the Devout to get a bonus tier 1 spell slot to get another Hex or another Burning Hands, plus a Hellish Rebuke as you get attacked for free without having to use up any of your actual spell slots. And you can just buy that ultra early. I know there's a lot of crazy Warlock multiclassing, but I wanted to go pure Warlock. Tell me in the comments below, what are your favorite Warlock multiclasses? Have you been enjoying the Pact Warlock with a melee weapon? Because I really want to go for that one as well. And if you have any feedback for, well, my first Baldur's Gate 3 video ever, do tell me. Right now, get you interested in this channel. How about Elden Ring with guns?